Welcome to Vintage Vinyl here at CourierJournal.com, down here in the Vintage Vinyl basement. This is where we come to talk about our favorite songs, maybe argue a little bit. My name is Jeffrey Lee Puckett, music writer for the Courier Journal, and my buddy here.
Hello, I'm Tom Heiser.
Tom,
Well,
what does that indicate? That
it
we'll talk
is a
about
dead
today?
giveaway, JLP, that this is a special day in the storied history of vintage vinyl. It is a special day down in the basement because we are talking about none other than
Early one morning while making the rounds, I took a shot of cocaine and I shot my woman down.
the legend of Johnny Cash.
Yes, and it is a legend.
Oh, 10. This was just a labor of love, JLP. That's all I can say.
I bet it was.
And we always debate. We always, we're tearing each other's songs apart. But that ain't going to happen this time. I don't see it. It's going to be a clinical examination of some of the great songs that the Man in Black came up with.
This is our first country music show.
For our first country music show. So I hope our fans out there in Nashville are tuning in for this. It's Grand Ole Opry. Everybody ready?
And Johnny Cash, believe it or not, I am not making this up, 93 albums in his catalog.
And we're going through every one of them
we
today.
went through every single album and came up with top 10 lists.
This is Desert Island Johnny Cash, and I'm going to kick it off with "I Got Stripes." I think this is the kind of the early sound of Johnny kind of going into the can. Doing a little bit of hard time. I got stripes across my shoulder.
I got chains around my feet. I got stripes around my shoulders. And them chains, they're about to drag me down.
He got arrested on a Monday. And, this carries on throughout his career, but this is just a great old song.
Was that during the amphetamine years?
I think it might have been maybe a bottle of booze. Might have been trouble this time. This was early.
This was his gateway.
Gateway years.
I went, chronologically speaking, I went just the opposite with my number 10. God's Gonna Cut You Down is actually from John's last album.
So, very good stuff on that.
Posthumous release. Yes. This song has been on my mind lately because it was the unofficial theme song of the final season of Breaking Bad.
Go tell that long-tongued liar, go and tell that midnight rider, tell the rambler, the gambler, the backbiter, tell him that God's gonna cut him down, tell him that God's gonna cut him down.
So Walter White's been on my mind lately. R.I.P.
R.I.P. Walter. At number 9, I'm going with Daddy Sang Bass. And I said my grandmother was a huge fan of this song. And I myself am not a fan of the spirituals, as they'd say. But this is a great song. May the circle be unbroken.
By and by, Lord, by and by.
Daddy sang bass.
Mama sang tenor.
Little brother, it's all right in the sky, Lord, in the sky.
In every performance that I've ever seen, whether it's just YouTube it, you can see whether it was Hee Haw, whether it was the Johnny Cash show. It's this huge group of fantastic singers, musicians, and it's for a spiritual. It really transcends.
I went with a super early song.
Okay.
Luther Played the Boogie.
Oh yeah.
This is about Johnny's first guitar player, Luther Perkins, who sort of got that little signature Cash sound going with his little boogie riff.
Well, Luther played the boogie woogie, 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 Luther played the boogie in the strangest kind of way. Play it, Robert.
And it was a tribute to Luther, and actually it did pretty well. This was a Sun Records.
Okay.
So it's old.
Some of the best stuff.
Yeah.
And number 8, I'm going with, well, what can you say? Ring of Fire. And there's a reason that I have to throw this in there, and that's on my very first night overseas in Germany as a member of the United States Air Force. I was taken to a beer fest, and I was just a young pup then. Didn't know much about them big beers that they serve over there in Germany.
These beers are giant.
I had way too many, and one of the last things that I remember before falling into unconsciousness was having my head down on one of the long benches and seeing two grizzled old Army sergeants who would later become foils in my life, singing, "I fell into a burning ring of fire."
I went down, 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 and the flames went higher, and it burns, 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 the ring of fire.
And then I passed out.
And then they set you on fire.
But not only is it a great song, but it's got a story to tell for me.
Yeah, that is a good story.
It's what I got.
Yeah, I like stories that end in a vomit. Those are my favorite. I'm going with Delia's Gone. John, he recorded this three times. This is from the American Recordings album, the version he did, which was his first album with Rick Rubin. So it's John's big comeback with the hipsters.
First time I shot her in the side. Hard to watch her suffer, but with the second shot she died. Delia's gone, one more round, Delia's gone.
And Delia's Gone is just another, murdering. Somebody did him wrong, you just murder it.
Sure, why not?
Get rid of it. Again, Walter White. Just tying it all together.
Number 7, and you've got issues. There are issues with it. Number 7, I'm just going with a really, really fun song, Get Rhythm. Come on, get rhythm when you get the blues. Come on. I mean, that's a knee slapper. I'm just going to call it that. It's a knee slapper.
Yeah, that's a classic. I love it. That's also early.
Oh, very early.
Yeah. Big River is my number 7.
Oh, yes.
Big River is an awesome song. I know you like this song.
Oh, I love this song.
Yeah, we'll talk about this song maybe a little bit later.
My number 6, I'm going with arguably the greatest song ever written about having a hangover, which is Sunday Morning Coming Down, a Chris Christopherson song, which you have said, and I love this, is that Chris Christopherson may be the worst singer in the history of music.
We need to one day do a bad singer show, and we're going to use his version.
But I love Chris Christopherson.
Oh, he's a great writer.
I love Chris, and this is the song, and Johnny's the man to sing it.
Then I headed back for home, somewhere far away, a lonely bell was ringing.
I mean, it's he wakes up Sunday morning, can't get his head in a position that it's not hurting. He's going looking for his cleanest, dirty shirt. I mean, it's a little hopeful in the end, but I don't want to hear that. I want to. It's just great listening to the beginning of that, and just this feeling of a guy who's waking up and his head is just full of cotton. I love it.
Beautiful. My number 6, A Porter.
Oh, Porter. A Porter. There you go.
A Porter just takes me right back to my childhood. My mom and dad always played J Cash. He was just always in the rotation, and I just remember this song. I don't feel like there was ever a time when I didn't know this song.
Hey Porter, please open up the door. When I stop this train, I'm gonna get off first, 'cause I can't wait no more.
It's weird. It's one of those Lifetime songs.
That's interesting, because I've heard this song. My family, my dad was the same way. Hey Porter was not one of those. It kind of wasn't on the favorite list, but that's interesting.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We got a magic guest ball here,
and then it's going to be interesting to see what the guest ball tells us.
Because
favorite Johnny Cash
with
song.
all these songs to choose from, it could be from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s.
So let the ball in black tell us about the man in black.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Check it out. It's former grunge rocker and Bill Clinton attorney John Solomon.
Man, that's a tough one. I mean, most people, I guess, are going to say Ring of Fire or something like that. But for me, it's going to have to be Teenage Queen. I mean, it made every small town boy like myself think, I got a chance. Hollywood could offer more, but she loved the boy next door who worked at the candy store. Come on, that's great.
All right, well, it's not like we can argue with
No,
the Johnny Cash song.
No, absolutely not.
I don't know, did Johnny Cash ever record a bad song? Probably, somewhere.
He did. He even recorded a fantastic song for Sesame Street called Nasty Dan, which my son loves.
He'd frown a bunch, he ate nails for lunch, and he'd never laugh.
Well, I'd like him.
He'd growl and yell, and I heard tell he never took a bath.
Wow.
Nasty Dan.
Nasty Dan.
Was a nasty man.
Yeah.
That's not going to make the top 10, but certainly not here going into the top 5.
This is big.
This is big
Big
river.
Boom.
Big River at number 5. I taught the weeping willow how to cry.
I love that line.
Oh, and I taught clouds how to cover up a clear blue sky.
And the tears that I cried for that woman, gonna flood you, Big River, and I'm gonna sit right here until I die.
I mean, it's country, it's rockabilly, it's ballad, it's everything.
Yes.
It's Cash.
And it's a Cash original. It's one that he wrote, which is when you could put together a list of just the songs J. Cash wrote, and it'll blow your mind.
And never mind how great the lyrics are about coming down the Mississippi River, but at the very end, that go on, I've had enough, dump your blues down in the Gulf. Oh, I love it. Love to finish that song.
Now, I've never thrown up in Germany while listening to this song, but my number 5 is Ring of Fire. And now I'll never hear this song without thinking about you passed out.
Oh, it was a tough night,
Yeah.
but it was worth it. It was worth it.
All right.
Ring of Fire, yeah, it is just such a fantastic song.
Oh, yeah.
No hidden meaning for you, or
Those mariachi horns. They make me feel good inside.
absolutely. Number 4, I'm going with Cry, Cry, Cry.
That's a great
Your
one.
sugar daddies will all be gone. You know, I heard this a couple of years ago. I went to a Derby dinner production that had sort of a medley of Johnny. It was, kind of a Johnny Cash growing up, and they played his songs all throughout. And of all the songs that were played in that medley, this song really, it had been a while since I had heard it, and I absolutely love it. I mean, this is, the guy really, he's telling this woman, you ran off, and you know what, you're the one who's going to be paying in the end.
It'll be your turn.
It's going to be your turn. It's fantastic.
I think you only live to see the lights uptown. I wasted my time when I would try. Cause when the lights have lost their glow, you cry.
My number 4 is actually John trying to circumvent that terrible end where he's trying to talk to his lady and to get him to understand your man.
Oh,
he's trying to get her to get on board that he's not going to be the greatest guy, but he has a good heart.
Don't give me that old familiar crying, cuss and moan. Understand your man, I'm tired of your bad mouth. Understand your man.
And maybe you should not leave him for Carl Perkins.
Well, number 3, I'm going with A Boy Named Sue. And GOP, this is not going to make your list.
No.
Oh, then,
I actually have a little bit of an issue with this being at number.
no, and I'm going to have to defend myself here because I had a few others tell me the same thing. This is a Shel Silverstein song.
Yeah.
It is a fantastic. The lyrics are just unbeatable. I mean, and what makes it so great is the fact that Johnny Cash turns it into a classic American ballad.
Well, I'll tell you, I fought tougher men, but I really can't remember when. Kicked like a mule and a bit like a crocodile.
Or just a classic, kind of Americana song, and pick your lyric, whether it's, well, my daddy left home when I was 3, and all he left for my mom and me was a guitar and an empty bottle of booze. Go through all the stanzas. I mean, there are some, and yes, it is the magic of Shel Silverstein's lyrics, but it's really brought to life as this, this great folk tale of going and finding your dad who's called you Sue, fighting him in a bar, busting a chair over his teeth.
That's a surprisingly strong argument, but I still have to disagree.
I love it. It was Gatlinburg in mid-July.
I loved it when I was 11. I just don't know if I love it so much now.
Put it this way, it's the sing-along factor. Yeah. It is. And it's Johnny Cash's voice. That's all I can say.
No one wants to sing along with my number 3. Hurt.
Oh.
Cash's version of a Nine Inch Nails song. I guess it's become sort of a thing that people like this version of Hurt so much. It's a hipster thing, but it's just so powerful. And coming at the time it did in his career, in his life, when his health was just deteriorating. I believe June was already gone. He was just on his last legs, and it gives me the chills every time I hear it. It's undeniable for me.
And you could have it all. My empire of dirt, I will let you down. I will make you hurt.
It's very deniable
It's a very
for
powerful
you because
song.
it's not on your list at all.
Well, it's a powerful song. I can say that. I'm going to my two here are two songs I can literally listen to 24 hours a day. But number two, I'm going with Folsom Prison Blues, and this was a staple at the Heiser abode for many years of our my wife and I's Christmas party. When karaoke got started down in the basement, I generally was the one who kicked it off. And how can you kick off karaoke better than going bow 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 bow? I hear the train coming.
It's rolling around the bend, and I ain't seen the sunshine since I don't know when. I'm stuck in Folsom Prison, and time keeps dragging on.
It is just fantastic. And of course, whether you like the album version or whether the live version at San Quentin, which cannot be beat, especially when the old boy's in the audience, or I shot a man in Reno just to make him die, just to watch him die.
Yeah.
Yeehaw!
Yeah, you got to go with the prison version.
Oh, the prison version is the best. And I know there's rich folks eating in the fancy dining car. Oh, it's the reason that I actually picked up a guitar. My father-in-law bought me a guitar, and that was one of the songs that he hoped that I would learn to play. So maybe someday. Someday.
There's still a chance.
There's still a chance.
My favorite June and John song comes in at number 2, Jackson.
Oh yeah.
I just love the way they play off of each other. June just sounds at her most sassy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's you and Jackson, and I'll be dancing on a pony cake. They'll get you round town like the scalded hound with your tail between your legs.
I think it's kind of it's a realistic relationship song.
Oh sure. The battle between the two of them.
Yeah.
In fact, I like it so much, it's my number one.
Nicely done.
Jackson is, first of all, it's my son's name. We used to sing it to him, when he was little, just kind of sit down and play that. And there's so many great aspects about that song. And, for those who've seen the movie Walk the Line, I thought that it was a pretty decent rendition of it, that scene between the two of them, but it really, really falls short.
Yeah.
I mean, you can say that Sissy Spacek was amazing as Loretta Lynn, and this one just falls a little short. I think that, seeing those, like you said, the sassiness, but, even Johnny, stepping in there, all them women.
Gonna make me teach them what they don't know how. I'm going to Jackson. You turn loose from my coat.
It is just a song you can listen to over and over again in any state of sobriety or inebriation.
It was almost my number 1. At the very last second, I did.
We would have had.
Yeah.
Would that have been the first time?
I think so.
Okay.
I went with Cry, Cry, Cry.
Oh, there you go. Well, I can't say anything about that.
Yeah.
But I might cry, cry, cry.
Every question that I ask, I get a lie, lie, lie. For every lie you tell, you're gonna cry, cry, cry.
The great thing about making these lists is you end up listening to hours of songs, and you just get reminded about certain things. Because I have to be honest, I'd sort of forgotten about a few of these songs.
Well, Cry, Cry, Cry is an example for me. I mean, until I had went to that show, it had been a while since I'd really listened to that. But you go back, and it's funny, though, the Walk the Line did not make any of our lists.
Oh, yeah.
Apostasy that is.
Yeah. Well, when you have 93, 94 records, you can't just do it. You can't do it in 10. So let's take a look. Let's see where you screwed up. Okay, Boy Named Sue.
Boy
Named Sue.
Why do I have to defend Boy Named Sue?
But you got some good Sun Records
Not
stuff.
the blood and the mud and the beer.
You got some good early stuff. You got Get Rhythm and Stripes.
And Luther, Luther Played Boogie should have been on it. That is a classic.
Luther Played a Boogie.
It's a classic song.
Yeah, but Get Rhythm is. You're right. That was a great pick. I almost wish I'd put that one on there somewhere.
Well, when you get the blues, go on, get rid of it. Well, why don't you tell us what you think about the Man in Black? You got to have your own top 10, and we'd be glad to see them. Glad to read them on our Facebook page.
Vintage Vinyl Facebook page. You could also tweet at us at CJ Vinyl. You could go to courierjournal.com, which is where you're at right now probably, and just leave a comment. Let us know how much Tom's choices are disappointing to you.
Let us know how much you really like A Boy Named Sue.
Jeffrey,
Hey, Mom, what's happening with you up there?
did you tell them Ring of Fire is my nickname for my hemorrhoids?
Oh,
Wow. I think we better get back to Boy Named Sue.
I told you to sit on the donut.
Oh,
That's what it's for.
wow.
It's not a headrest.
I fell into the ring of fire.
She just never gets any less embarrassing.
No, but just stick with us. Check back next week for another sterling episode of Vintage.
Thank you.